was that old saying about I'd rather have a lucky general than a smart one? Sir Keir Starmer certainly seems to be guided by a higher power at the moment, and it's not Angela Rayner. Firstly, Rishi Sunak calls a snap election that his party were clearly not ready for. Nigel Farage unexpectedly throws his hat in the ring, diluting the Conservative vote. And now Rishi Sunak is embroiled in a gambling row over candidates' alleged betting on the timing of a general election. It sets the theme of this race, the Conservatives in a self-inflicted death spiral. But all is not lost. Michael Gove has pointed to the surprise Brexit result in 2016 and Donald Trump's unexpected victory in the same year to become president as proof that it's all to play for. Now, this either demonstrates Michael Gove's keen eye for political history or that he's back on the Columbian marching powder. We'll draw a line under that one. However, whilst buoyant in the polls with the promise of real change and an end to Tory failure, Labour are not without their problems. And with just 6 days to go until polling day, Sir Keir Starmer is going to face unprecedented scrutiny, particularly given their rather vague manifesto that raises more questions than a Gary Barlow tax return. So the choice is clear for the British public. The Tories, who have crashed the economy and lost their credibility for sound governance, or Labour, who'll tax us to oblivion and empower the striking unions. Lucky us! I'm positively pinching myself. While still performing strongly in the polls, Reform UK are currently embroiled in an almighty racism row with Channel 4. More on that a little later in the show. The Green Party continue their message of saving the planet, which is laudable, but their progressive agenda will likely impact not just carbon emissions, but our wallets too. And I doubt that Just Stop Oil's pathetic stunt in Stonehenge would have done the eco cause any good. J.K. Rowling, increasingly right about everything, dryly suggested that Just Stop Oil are so bad and so annoying, perhaps they're funded by the oil industry. She is good with her words, isn't she? She should go professional. And Rowling is also proving a thorn in the side to Sir Keir Starmer over trans rights. She is a woman with balls. And then there's the Lib Dems, who are flirting with potentially 50 seats in the next parliament and are attracting both Labour and Tory voters with the promise of action on social care. But will Sir Ed Davies' handling of the post office scandal see them lose some support? Postal votes are surely a worry. Lol. I think we can all agree that whatever happens, the outcome of this election cannot come too soon. I've noticed a lack of engagement in this whole process and a lack of faith in all politicians and a boredom with the entire Westminster soap opera. It seems that the Euros, Wimbledon and barbecued sausages, burnt on the outside, raw in the middle, standard, are a far stronger draw than the election hustings. Who cares if a winter of discontent is coming? With the sun and warm weather finally with us, what Brits really want to vote for is a proper summer. Reacting to the big stories of the day, I'm delighted to bring in my Friday friends. Here are, with me in no particular order, Reem Ibrahim, Roger Gewolb, and Alex Dyke. Reem, let me start with you. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Right, summer's here, and let's be honest, the public are trying to ignore this election, aren't they?
They are. Summer's here. I'm in my summer dress, and I'm very happy. You're absolutely right. I think what's really interesting is, other elections that we've had, for example, in 2019, in December, just before Christmas, people did not want to go campaigning in the freezing cold. And I think that a lot of people don't want to go campaigning in the nice, warm weather when they can instead be at the pub enjoying a nice pint of beer. I would say, though, I think that what's interesting about the election as a whole is that I found that there hasn't been a lot of policy substance coming from either leader, and I think that the votes that Reform UK have been able to pick up have been as a result of that. A lot of people are voting Reform not necessarily because they like what policies they stand for, but actually because they are just so disenfranchised and upset with the Conservative Party.
Roger Gewolb, is this just a procession for the Labour Party and a rubber stamping of Keir Starmer as our next Prime Minister?
I think not. I think he's got real opposition from Farage, from Jeremy Corbyn, and from George Galloway. And I keep hearing it's going to be a landslide, but it could be a landslide. It could also be a hung parliament, not a well-hung one, because none of these people have any you-know-whats. But
Speak for yourself, Roger.
Yeah, well, okay, but I mean...
It might be cold in this studio. But this is another story.
But I am, as your viewers will hopefully know, somebody who tries to cut through the fog to the facts and maintain focus. And 9 days ago, as many people will know, I made a prediction and a proposal, which is quite outrageous, but the overwhelming support that I have received for it is quite encouraging. I proposed that Nigel Farage is handed the keys to the Tory party and that Reform merges with a very small m with the Tories before the election. Let me spell that out. The Tories are burnt toast. It will be years, decades. They've done themselves so much harm. End of. Sir Ed the postman doesn't even ring once. Vasey's party could end up as the opposition. That's fine, but it's not going to mean much. Reform could win. We've just seen as much as 31 seats, but given our system, as I say, it would be a hung parliament, not much. I don't think that anybody, even Nigel, is going to sit around for 5 years and watch Starmageddon and then try to put it back together, turning Reform into the opposition. That's going to be very difficult. And if the same people are still in the Tories, then he's not going to want to work with them and vice versa. So to conclude, my proposal is that somebody, and I have volunteered myself, broker a deal between the Tories and the Reform Party. I've been to constitutional law experts. It's very easily done with an agreement, a concordat, if you will, that spells out what happens. Fishy Rishi goes to the king. The next day he resigns, Nigel takes over. Same thing with the cabinet. Good Tories stay in post, or even better. The swamp is drained and we get what we want, and we are not sent to Starmageddon Corbynesia for the next 5 or 10 years.
I just wonder whether the far-fetched part of that, because nothing would surprise me in politics in 2024, is the idea of Sunak resigning to make way for Nigel Farage. They've already had a row over a very racist person campaigning on behalf of Reform UK, exposed by Channel 4. So there's no way that Sunak is going to stand down. Is there a halfway house? Is there a way that Sunak remains leader but brings Farage in as Foreign Secretary or Home Secretary?
Have you met Nigel Farage?
Once or twice.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think you work that way with Nigel.
He's nobody's number two.
And especially
he's actually a lot of people's number two.
And especially not Fishy Rishi. Look, the whole Andrew Parker thing, Nigel is now saying may well be a plant.
Well, we're actually going to come to that.
Yeah, I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to say, I think it's a red herring. I think it is symptomatic of the level of tensions going on right now between these two parties that face a very desperate future.
All right, Fishy Rishi, red herring. You're getting low on fish and seaworthy metaphors at the moment. But listen, what an idea from Gewolb there, Alex Dyke. The idea that the Tories and Nigel Farage strike some kind of extraordinary 11th hour deal, supposedly, assumedly, to keep Keir Starmer out of number 10.
Yeah, I think, Roger, as crazy as it may sound to some viewers, I think Roger is onto something here. I also think that Ree made a good point when she said that...
First time for everything.
And you in the monologue too, brilliant monologue.
Oh, thank you.
Fantastic.
You can come back.
We've got a situation where the sun has come out after a very, very wet, dismal winter and spring. The Euros are on. People are excited about that. So the fair weather voters and lots of others have pushed politics right out of their minds. They don't care about this election. There's nothing to get passionate about apart from Nigel Farage.
I think you're right that, normal people, I think we tend to overestimate how much normal people actually care about what's going on in SW1.
Well, I'm a normal person, so ask me.
I think generally speaking, if I ask my parents or any of my family members, they're absolutely not involved in politics at all. They just don't care. They see themselves as effectively having two choices of the same. I was going to say something a bit cheeky. They're not allowed on air, but effectively of the two cheeks of the same, and you can expect what the next sentence is. Exactly.
No, one of my followers tweeted as a choice between stepping in dog muck or cat muck.
Yeah, I mean, effectively it is. I've got to say, Roger, with all due respect, I think that what you are saying is absolutely for the birds. I cannot see any situation in which Nigel Farage effectively brokers the deal with Rishi Sunak and leads the Conservative Party. I think they're too broken.
A number of people have said that to me, but let me make the point very clear. I am doing this because I want it on the record. I think within the zeitgeist of the nation, if you will, those people who don't care, who didn't turn out for the London mayoral vote, who may not turn out for this one, at the back of their mind, Starmageddon is very, very frightening.
You say Starmageddon. We've had Torygeddon for 14 years.
Absolutely.
And Farage is on the right. Why do you have such a God-given right to be in power? Isn't it time Labour got a crack at it?
Let me just finish the point, if I may, Mark. They know that it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be an improvement. It's not going to be comfortable. Let's just put it that way without going into details. What I'm saying is I want it on the record historically that there was an option to at least sit down and talk. And if that option isn't taken up, I'm trying to get Nigel to allow me or somebody to go over there and try to put something together. If that isn't explored at least, and we end up very unhappy, then that could have been avoided if our leaders, who have failed us miserably so far,